up guys, it's Leah. I'm back with another video, and today sis, bro, we are going to be talking about the things that we need to leave in 2021. In the past, gone, finito. Let's get into it. Start off not too heavy for you guys. I don't want to get too controversial, but let's start with checking your phone first thing in the morning. Bruh, that shit needs to stop. That shit just really needs to stop. Like, why do we check our phones? We wake up before we even thank God or the universe or whatever, or just take the time to meditate. We don't even do that. We literally grab our phone and start scrolling. And then we wonder why we have, not the only reason, but we wonder why we have so much anxiety and depression. It's because we're literally like robots. Like, we're programmed to think like, let me go through my phone and see what's going on in the world. Because we have like FOMO, fear of missing out. Try a routine. Try meditating for at least 5 minutes. Read your Bible, Quran, whatever that means to you. You know, play some music. Brush your teeth. Like, and I just want to put a disclaimer out there. When I say this stuff, I mean I need to do this shit too. I need to be taking my own advice. Period. So don't come for me talking about, oh, hypocrite. Well, I'm trying, and I have started actually, and I feel like we all should, as humans, should practice not checking our phone first thing in the morning. Come on now. Okay, backhanded compliments. Can we please leave that in 2021? And also, stop commenting on people's bodies unprovoked, or like people's appearances. Like, if you don't have nothing nice to say, literally don't say it. Humans just literally project without realizing that they're projecting. Like, stop it. No, but for real though, like, I find it to be so rude. You guys know I made a video on that already. Stop commenting on people's weight. Like, if you're used to see, and that brings me to my point. That brings me to my first point. Scrolling first thing in the morning and looking at all these Instagram bodies on IG and all these BBL bodies, and you're looking at a regular person talking about, you're too skinny. Like, no. No. They're not too anything. Some advice. Next time you feel like commenting on somebody's body, just stop yourself, look in the mirror, and look at your own, literally, and then give yourself a comment before you comment on somebody else's body. I think we need to practice that all 2022. Yeah. Another thing, boundaries. Set boundaries. I realized that a lot of my built up anger and animosity towards people was because they weren't respecting my boundaries, but I had to literally self-assess, have self-awareness, and be like, I didn't set any. I literally did not set any boundaries. So once you set your boundaries and you stick to them, and you're no longer interested in saying yes to everything and everyone, you'll be a happier person. And when it comes to boundaries, being assertive is not rude, like, at all. Like, my whole life I got called rude. Oh my gosh, she's so rude. And it's usually by like adults. Because I always had respect when it comes to elders, and by no means, I'm not saying I'm perfect. Everyone always thinks, oh, she's such a sweet girl, she's such a sweet girl. But then sometimes people don't know what to do with nice people. Like, humans, they don't know how to act with nice people. Like, sometimes they take it too far because they feel like you're too nice. You know what I mean? So that's when they start overstepping your boundaries. Boundaries that you didn't even know you had to place in the first place, because you're thinking, as a decent human, you wouldn't ask somebody something like that, or you wouldn't stick your nose in somebody else's business like that. I wouldn't do that. But when somebody does that, it's like, I've always been assertive, so I didn't really take the nonsense, if you will. Like, I would always like put somebody in their place, like, no matter how old they were. And I would say like, oh no, I don't really want to talk about that, or I'm surprised you know, feel comfortable asking me that. Like, I would answer like that, and they're kind of like, oh, Like, you know, especially the older, more mature people, like they're so shocked because they feel like they've earned the right that they can talk to you any type of way, when in reality it's just, that was rude. So I've always been assertive, and being assertive is not rude. Let's dead that in 2022. Please stop allowing people to talk to you any type of way. Like, that shit is dead in 2022. Okay, brings me into my next point: distancing yourself from negative family members or anybody that is negative around you. And you guys saw my last video that I did, hopefully. Well, not a lot of you, but anyway, I talked about distancing yourself from negative family members during the holiday, but we're gonna do this all 2022. Like, we do not need to be around negative people, whether they're our family, our siblings, our friends, our in-laws. Like, limit the time that you're around them. You know, the older people get, the more they're like set in their ways and they're not gonna change. It would be great for humanity if we would hear each other out and try to like self-assess and adjust our ways and have more empathy, but unfortunately it's not like that. So we gotta adjust and cut them off. Don't have negative people around you. You know those people that where you have something negative to say, anything you do or say they counteract it with a negative statement, or they're always putting you down, but it's like kind of like a joke, or they always think the worst of you. Cut them out. This next one is a big one. This shit hits home. People who don't defend you when you're in the right. That shit is, not only is it so hurtful, but it's like, yo, I would do that for you. You know the saying goes, if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. It's like people who stay neutral in a situation. Like, they're just gonna like keep it cool, like, oh, I'm not gonna say nothing, or like they try to equalize the situation when clearly one person is in the wrong. Like, they'd be like, oh, you guys need to like, you know, stop fighting and like deal with it. Like, no, if you're a powerful mediator in the situation and you have something to say, like, I get not wanting to get involved, but sometimes you need to step in for your loved ones and stand up for them, period. Another thing we're gonna leave in 2021: don't get offended when people don't agree with you. Simple as that. There was this quote the other day I saw it. It was like, don't be offended when people don't agree with you, because that's a learning experience. We're learning that people think differently. Me, you, and I think differently, and that's okay. Like I said the other day, people feel validated when you agree with them. Humans are obsessed with being right all the time, and I feel like that's the weakest trait mentally, intellectually to have. You know what I mean? Yeah. This one, I literally had to take my own advice, and now I do just that. Like, I do not let people know what I'm gonna do next. I just tell people when they say, oh, like, what's new? Like, you know, like, how's your little business going or whatever? I just tell them it's going great. I have big plans, you know, and I keep it at that. I told you guys in one of my first videos, I was telling people that I really wanted to do YouTube, and I always wanted to work for myself or whatever. And so many people that I cared about, they literally dismissed me. They dismissed my ideas. They, like, you could tell they thought I was crazy. They thought that's not a real job. Like, you could just see it in their face and hidden things that they would say. Don't tell people what you're gonna do next. Allow people to give you advice, and because we need that, but don't tell them every little detail. 9 times out of 10, they're gonna be negative about it because they think that it's not realistic to them. Keywords. This is your dream. This is your goal. You wrote it down, not them. They're not going to be putting in the work. They're just telling you that you're going to struggle. Another thing that I heard from actually Jackie Aina, that don't ever seek advice from somebody that hasn't gone through what you're trying to do. So just always keep that in mind. The negativity that I faced by talking too much to people, it made me procrastinate. It made me more scared than I already was, and I got nowhere. And it's only now I'm starting to break through that. So just skip those steps, to skip those emotions. Find somebody that maybe does whatever it is that you want to do, or somebody that's a little bit more successful than you, and talk to them. Do not talk to the people that, like, for example, are working a 9 to 5 and think that, you know, becoming a musician is stupid. Hell no. Correct your circle and talk to them, confide in them. So this one, thick skin, A lot of you guys do not have thick skin. It's one of those things where it's like, you know, like pep talk. Nobody really has thick skin. In my opinion, everybody just brushes it under the rug and they keep it going, and then you find out they're messed up in the head later because years ago Johnny called them ugly and they just internalized it. And what we do is suppress. So when it comes to thick skin, I feel like instead of calling it thick skin, find ways to maybe cope with not taking things too seriously. When it comes to thick skin, that's so unrealistic and it's insensitive as hell. Like, we're all human. If somebody calls me ugly, I'm gonna feel sad, even though I don't feel like I'm ugly. But there's some days when I'm having, like, you know, a bad looking day or whatever, my self-esteem is low that day, that shit is gonna get to you. So nobody really has thick skin, in my opinion. I feel like they just brush it off. This one I need to follow. Stop speaking negatively about yourself. I have this habit. It's really bad. It's actually disgusting. That brings down my self-esteem in the long run. Even when you don't realize it, subconsciously you believe it. There's been a few people on different occasions to, like, they've suggested that I look in the mirror every day, every morning, and say like at least 5 positive affirmations about myself. And I just felt like that sounded ridiculous at the time. Like, I didn't tell them that, but in my head I'm like, I ain't trying that. It can't hurt. So that's something that I still have yet to try, but I really want to stop speaking negative things into the universe, negative things on to myself, because you have to be good to yourself. If you want somebody to be good to you, you better be good to yourself. Practice good hygiene. And when I say good hygiene, I mean, I'm not calling anyone nasty or anything. I'm just saying, like, you can always elevate your hygiene routine or whatever that means for you. Like, when it comes to me, I used to work in a daycare for a long time, and obviously I was always getting sick because I had just started working there. And you know, when you start working with kids or whatever, your immune system is shot. So I was always sick. But then after that, I realized I was still getting sick. I was never getting better. That daycare also allowed me to have my nails done. I love to get my nails done. And I had to step back and realize, like, yo, maybe I need to take extra steps to clean my nails, because washing your hands however many times a day is not enough. Literally, I take a Q-tip and I get the alcohol and I literally go and I clean, like, it's a deep clean, you know, underneath my fingernails, because washing your hands alone when you have long ass nails, I feel like that's not going to do the trick, you know. And I really felt like that's probably why I was always getting sick, aside from the daycare, because I wasn't getting any better. So make sure, if you're like high maintenance girl like me, make sure that you clean under your nails thoroughly, because I was already cleaning, but I had to do like a thorough cleaning. Like, I have all these piercings all up on my ear. I got 2 piercings in my nose. I have a belly button piercing, and I have to clean my piercings every single day. Obviously, they're gonna start to smell. Like, you know what I mean? Make sure to do those little things, because those are little things that maybe some people don't realize. Like, your piercings, you gotta clean them every day, no matter if they're healed or what. Get behind those earlobes. Elevate your hygiene routine. I'm gonna be doing that. You know, there's always ways to level up your self-care routine. Kevin Samuels. 2 words. That's it. That's, like, I swear that's all I have to say, and we could be done, but I'll elaborate a little bit. If you know anybody that follows Kevin Samuels or takes his ideology seriously and they're like, well, he kind of makes sense. No, just no. It's a strong no, especially if you're a black woman. No. Literally, he disrespects black women in front of the world. And we all know of the history of humbling black women, this obsession with wanting to humble black women and humiliate them. I feel like as a black person, a black man, a black woman, the way he speaks to black women, that should infuriate you. It's clear that his motive is not to help them, even though he's disguising it as that. So I would say anybody that follows his ideologies, hell no. We're leaving him and we're gonna leave them in 2021. So this one has been heavy on my mind now. So we're getting into a little heavy segment, and you can argue with me in the comments. I don't care. Let's have a conversation, okay? The black community getting mad at other races. I know they're gonna hate me for this, for saying the N-word. Now, hear me out. Hear me out. I just feel like it's derogatory. It's disgusting. The history of it is disgusting. And I remember watching an interview like years ago of Jay-Z trying to tell Oprah like, this is why we use it. We took it and we flipped the word, and it's just an excuse for ignorance, I feel like. And it sounds cool. It's so ingrained in our heads, in rap and hip hop, that we literally cannot stop saying it as a people. Like me personally, I wouldn't even want a black person to refer to me as a N-word, okay? I just feel like I'm so much more than that. I feel like we are so much more than that as a people. That word really bothers me. It's disgusting. It's low down. It's very like low vibrational. I don't want anybody to refer to me as that or describe me as that, white or black. Clearly, it's an issue because we get mad when other races say it, but we say it. I don't understand that. So I feel like we need to leave that word in 2021. Wishful thinking, I feel like it will never happen. The black community will never stop using it, but I personally don't use it, and I would hate for anybody to refer to me as that. We are above that. And if we want to rise above all the foolishness and injustices that we go through, maybe a step in the right direction would be not referring to each other as that. Which brings me to my next point, colorist statements. Oh my god, when it comes to color statements, guys, it's just so disappointing. I'm so tired of these terms that are kind of like a code that people in the black community use, and to me it's also very low down. It's ghetto. It's not how we should be describing ourselves. I'm tired of these ignorant ass terms. Oh, she got good hair, you have some good hair. Oh, but you don't even have nice hair. I have nice hair. Like this is literally us talking about ourselves like this. Like that is so embarrassing. And we're talking like this in front of people. So if other people thought that we were not good enough, I don't blame them, because we're talking about ourselves in front of others about how we're not good enough. Only some of us are good enough because we have this certain type of hair texture. Or another thing we need to leave in 2021, giving people characteristics according to their skin color. Nah, black community, we need to do better. We need to do better. Oh,
why she acts so light skinned? She never answers her phone. She's so light skinned. Oh my god.
or they will refer to dark skin as being like masculine and like angry, and it's like, so when you see a dark skinned girl, is she masculine and angry? Is dark skin a masculine trait? And this is literally how people have been talking for years and years, team light skin, team dark skin. I never fell victim to that, never. It always bothered me. I feel like it's disgusting, like, you know what I mean? I always used to say, the black community, they can recognize racism in 2.5 seconds. You can't tell them nothing. They're like, oh yeah, she's racist, this is what she said. But when it comes to colorism, there's crickets. They're like, they don't know what you're talking about. It's all in your head. I was just joking. That's a big one, right? And people are literally feeling insecure and, you know, feeling less than because of colorism within the black community. So it's like, I don't understand how you can understand racism, but you can't understand colorism. You know what I mean? And I feel like if black people are so beautiful, and if black girl magic is really a thing, why are we separating each other from our skin color and our hair type? It's just ridiculous. Like the hair typing system, that has got to go, okay? Let's leave that in 2021, please. Like, I never used the hair typing system as a young child. I actually thought that there was just different types of hair in the black community. Like, some of us have looser curls, some of us have more of an afro type look, some of us, you know, we're just all different. Like, I just never thought of it as like different grades of hair. I just thought we were all different. Now it's like this hair typing system, and literally the black community fell for it. they're obsessed. I remember one time this girl asked me, she was like, yeah, my hair is like, there's like this chart that this girl pulled out because they were talking about hair, and she was like,
yeah, my hair is like this. It's more like 4'8".
And then she looked at me and she was like,
what's your hair type?
you know, like it was like this whole thing where it's like, do you have nice hair too, or like do you have that type of hair, like, you know? And it literally creates like separation within the Black community. We went like 10 steps forwards and then like 20 steps back because of the hair typing system. There's always going to be some type of separation by hair texture and by skin color, and we still do it to this day, and we disguise it as jokes. It's disgusting. Leave that shit in 2021. Okay, so when it comes to people who are colorists now, or who have made colorist statements or ignorant statements, like, you know, celebrities and stuff like that, like sometimes we things go viral, or like they resurface when celebrities come out that they tweeted like years ago before they were famous, like black girls this or black girls that or whatever, you know, just making colorist statements. I feel like you do not have to forgive them. Like, I feel like the world shames Black women into thinking like, yo, you know, there's bigger problems in the world, like our plight doesn't matter, and, you know, just move on, it's not that serious, blah blah blah. Like, you do not have to associate yourself with people who have downed your skin color or disrespected your features as a Black person. Like, you know what I mean? You can like disassociate, and I think that's fine. You shouldn't really have to be forced to forgive or be around people who have made colorist statements, even if it's your family. You know, you have every right to protect your peace, and nobody wants to be around abusers who think that way. You know what I mean? When it comes to colorism, I feel like you should treat it just like racism. Don't care what anyone has to say. If they down you and you're seen as defensive, who cares? Because you're protecting your peace at the end of the day, and you shouldn't allow anyone to disrespect you. Obsessing over the length of your hair. I need to follow this, and I really don't think it's a big one, but I feel like because of the natural hair movement or whatever, and mind you, some of us have been natural for our whole lives. Why do we say natural? Why do we say natural hair? Like, don't we all have natural hair? Like, I don't fucking get it. But anyways, when it comes to like the obsession of like how long is our hair getting, I think sometimes like the health of our hair gets lost because it's like kind of shallow, you know what I mean? And I'm a woman at the end of the day, so it's like I always will love long hair. I don't like short hair on me. It looks good on other people, but it's just not for me, and I think that's fine. But I think me like obsessing over it and feeling real genuine sad emotions over the fact that I had to cut my hair or start over or whatever is like low-key kind of not healthy. So I feel like we need to stop obsessing over how long our hair is from month to month to month, and we, you know, like we need to just like be and like live our lives and, you know, not be so shallow. And that's what I feel like I'm working on when it comes to outer appearance. You know, stop letting people shame you into having children or getting married too early. Like, you know, when you're in your 20s and they try to speed you up, like they're literally trying to speed you up. No intentions on paying for whatever it is that they're telling you to do, but nonetheless they're telling you to do it. And I've had this happen to me a lot because I'm in a long-term relationship, and there's been people along the way, so many people along the way trying to speed me up, and it annoys the hell out of me. It annoys the hell out of me. Why? Because you never know what somebody is going through. Even if they're going through nothing at all, doesn't have to be anything. Stop trying to speed people up. Stop trying to say, oh,
why not?
You know, I remember this girl one time, she was like, you don't want to have a baby? And I was like, no, I'm not ready. And she was like, why? And I was like, why would I be? Like, do I have to be? And she was like, well, you're in a relationship. It's like people don't know how to separate you from your relationship. You know what I mean? And I have cysts on my ovaries. I have like all these issues going on, and I hope that I'm not gonna have issues in the future when that time comes, should that time come. But I just feel like it's so insensitive because there are some people who cannot conceive, they cannot have children, they're going through things, unique living situations, their relationship might not be intact right now, maybe they don't want children. Like, I just find it to be invasive, it's rude, and I feel like we need to leave that shit in 2021. Don't let anyone pressure you into having that. And that brings me back also to the Black community, because I feel like in a lot of times in the Black community, you will see that, like, even my own dad, he was like, oh, like when I was like maybe like a few years back, he was like, oh, like, when are you gonna have kids? Like, are you gonna have kids? Like, you know, like that pressure. And I have all these goals that I want to pursue, that I want to do, and he actually has never asked me about that. He's watched me like actively try to do something for myself, and then he would ask. But when it came to just asking me flat out, like, what do you want to do, he actually never did that. He always would ask me, why don't you have a boyfriend? Where's your boyfriend at? And when are you gonna have kids? And that brings me to my next point, which is marriage. And this is for, disclaimer, this is for the marriage-minded people. Like, if you want to get married, I understand that not everybody wants to get married. My mom does not care for marriage. She's not married. She didn't want that. She was cool with common law, but this is for people that, you know, if marriage is for them. I'm referring to the Black community a lot, okay, because I'm Black and I can only speak for the Black community. A lot of times, especially like a Caribbean background, it's like if you don't have like a boyfriend or a girlfriend at like a certain, you know, age, they're kind of wondering, like, is she gay? Is he gay? Like, you know, it's really messed up. It's corrupt. And I'm not saying all, I'm just saying it's really common. So it's like, if you get a girlfriend, you finally get a boyfriend, okay, she's normal, you know, normal. And then they're like, okay, what about kids? Like, they just like skip the marriage. You know, if you don't come from like a family of marriage, like obviously they're like thinking like, oh, like what about the kids? But I feel like there's so many baby showers, elaborate baby showers, not enough weddings. Like, you know what I mean? And I feel like we as Black people need that representation. We need more like homes that are stable together, not broken homes that a lot of us have come from. You know what I mean? I think marriage is important, and I feel like it should be normalized more than, oh, when you're having kids. That would piss me right off. I remember I was talking to this guy like back in the day, and the first thing he said to me, red flag, like red flag, okay? Like, if he says this, run. The first thing he said was, I'm trying to give my mom a grandchild. I was like, huh? Like, what? That really just turned me off. You have to watch who you're procreating with. Like, that's another big thing. Like, when I heard that, I just thought like, yo, these dudes just see most of these women as machines to hold their child, to carry their child and pop them out. Like, that's all a lot of them are interested in, and that's not who you want to procreate with if you're marriage minded. Like, if you're traditional and all that, that is not who you want to procreate with. Like, to me, that tells me all you care about is doing something for your mom. Like, literally, like, you're talking about me pushing out a kid for your mom. Like, does that make sense? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if we're engaged and we're married and, like, you know, when the time comes, but you're seeing that right off the bat, red flag, run. This one is hella important, okay? As we all know, there's a lot of men who feel like everything should be equal and whatever, you know. It's like a whole big controversial topic, and leave that talk in 2021. Do what makes you happy. If you are in a relationship with somebody who, you know, the girl pays all the bills, let her do that. Like, you know what I mean? If she wants to do that, let her do that. But don't shame the next girl who is in a relationship or who wants a relationship that's more traditional. Like, some people want traditional relationships where it's like usually the guy is the provider naturally, if that works for him. Naturally, a lot of men historically were the providers, and obviously in this day and age it's different. Things are way more expensive. One income, let alone two, is not barely cutting it. But there are some men who feel like they want to take care of a majority of it, and let's not shame women who like men like that, and let's not shame men who want to be like that, because the way a lot of men see it is that we're gonna carry their child one day, which is a job in itself. So imagine his wife having the kids and having like 3 million jobs, whereas he has one. That's why a lot of men like to be the protector. So don't let people shame you into wanting a traditional relationship. Like, if he wants to pay for majority, that's fine. And if a woman wants to seek a guy like that, that is fine. There's too many men out here so angry about the fact that women want a traditional man. Like, they're like so mad. A lot of times it's about money that they don't even have. Like, leave that to the providers. If you're not a provider, do you go get a girl that wants to provide for you, but don't shame nobody that wants a man who is a traditional provider. Do what works in your relationship. There was this podcast that it was like a little clip that I saw online of this guy. He was talking about how his mother actually made significantly more than his father, and his father barely made the cut. And then he goes on to say that his mom allowed him to still be the man of the house. And it's just crazy to me how, when it comes to women, we get so much slack and criticism about what we want, the things that we have to do to be worthy of a position where we should be protected or provided for. But that guy in the podcast, even though his dad didn't hold up his end of the bargain, she still allowed him to be the man of the house. Like, it's crazy to me. At the end of the day, we need to be mature and realize that relationships are an exchange. They're simply an exchange. Like, if you want to be called the man of the house, whatever, like, you usually make more. So it's like, why did she have to like shrink herself so that he could be the man of the house? He didn't hold up his end of the bargain. He's not making more than her. He's not even providing. If it wasn't for the mom, there would be no providing. So it's like, it's not fair that the woman has to shrink herself every time. But a lot of these dudes are talking about, oh, you have to do this and that to deserve me and but like, his dad didn't even hold up his end of the bargain. So that's not fair. I would not recommend that. Go for a provider if you want a provider. Don't go for somebody that wants to be a provider and can't do it, because at the end of the day, you're going to resent each other. So I would just say, try to align with people that match up with your morals in life or your life decisions. Stop being loyal to people to a fault just because it's your people. Like, hold people accountable. If they're wrong, they're wrong. Like, these guys want to be like, oh, free my dogs, free my dogs. Like, no. Like, before he got locked up, you should have been like, nah, don't do it. Not free my dogs after he freaking tried to, to a girl. Like, no. When it comes to like the way moms deal with their sons, they don't know how to hold them accountable. That's a huge issue. Like, if they're wrong, they're wrong. Deal with it as such. Period. Stop overworking yourself. It's not cute. And for me, I literally used to do this, and I took my own advice. I used to overwork myself because, it was helping my savings. I thought I was doing the right thing. There was times where I would get sick, and it was because I was overworking myself. I wouldn't eat properly. Nobody's clapping for you like, ooh, like, nobody's clapping for you for overworking but work. And it's not necessarily them clapping for you, but you're just a body that showed up and they're grateful for that. And when you're too reliable for people at work, they start to take advantage of you. You can neglect your mental health, which is what I was doing. I was literally physically and mentally sick because I was overworking myself. And I was looking at this therapist on YouTube. She was talking about how sometimes what it means to cope with your mental health is to reduce your working hours. And I just felt validated. I felt guilty that I had to reduce my hours from full-time to part-time just to get my mental health together, because I had not been addressing it all these years and struggling with my mental health when I went home, and struggling to do my job at work, struggling to focus and all that. So I just felt validated when she said, yeah, sometimes you need to reduce your hours at work, because they don't understand people with mental health issues, which brings me to my next point. Get therapy. Get therapy. Like, I don't care, you've been through trauma, you seem to think your life was perfect growing up, go to therapy. I'm gonna go to therapy. There are some things that still bother me, and people have encouraged me to go to therapy. I know people my age who have gone to therapy, my race, because you know sometimes there's a stigma in a lot of communities, but I know in my community it's like going to therapy is not cool, like, you know, like that's a loser thing to do. But I feel like we should all go to therapy. We should all get help, because a lot of times mental health is dismissed, you know what I mean, like it's not taken seriously. We need to leave that mindset in 2021. Mental health is very serious. No race is exempt. Go to therapy, get help, deal with your shit, deal with your generational trauma, break those cycles before you have children, before you get married. Go to therapy. I'm pretty sure it will help in the long run. Stop killing each other over different hoods. Like, literally, it's ridiculous. The hood was constructed to keep minorities in a certain community, okay? It's usually when they say low income minorities, they're talking about black people, brown people, and they literally keep you there. It's run by the freaking government, and you're killing each other over different hoods. Like, it's so embarrassing. Like, your mom wants to get out of the hood. That's the whole point of moving to like Brampton or wherever. Like, she has to worry about getting a call that her son is dead because he's getting involved in like politics, you know, in the hood. Like, that shit needs to be left in 2021. But again, that's wishful thinking, because we're so far gone and we're in too deep, and it's way deeper than that, unfortunately. But I wish that was something that we could really leave in 2021. Stop not questioning your doctors. This is something that I also need to follow through with. Sometimes I feel so rushed in the process, and I know they might have like appointments back to back to back, but sometimes doctors, they leave you without a lot of explanation. Like, they don't tell you why they asked you a certain thing, and then you might ask them a question and they'll give you like a one-word answer, and then you're trying to get more out of them, but they're trying to like rush you out the office. I feel like it's our right to question our doctors. I'm not saying disrespect them, but question them, because it's your body at the end of the day. Leave emotionally unavailable men in 2021. I can say that I'm really proud of my friends for finding their self-worth and ditching these narcissists. I feel like it's so old now. As women, we know, we have it down pat. Like, we know what an emotionally unavailable man looks like, and we're not trying to figure him out anymore. We're not trying to crack the code anymore. We're not trying to do wifey duties while being a girlfriend. We're not trying to even be a girlfriend without even getting a title of a girlfriend. We're not trying to do that no more. Like, and I sometimes I still see girls trying to crack the code and like figure these men out, and like they're talking about my man this, and they don't even have the title, and they can't call them whenever they want to because they don't know if he's gonna pick up. And like, I feel like we're getting older and we deserve way more than that. If he's not clear, like crystal clear with you, that leave him in 2021, sis. What we're looking for grown, talkative, well-to-do men that like to communicate, that like to figure out the problem, that initiate. Bare minimum, that's dead. Bare minimum dudes are going to be left in 2021. Don't let nobody shame you into wanting a man that does nice things for you. You deserve it. Repeat after me. You deserve it. Okay, you guys, I think that's all for my video. I want to start 2022 with a bang. Be bold, be assertive, be you, be unapologetic, be self-aware enough that you're a good person and you treat people right, but have that balance where you don't give up if somebody doesn't like you or not. Be confident. I just want to give all my blessings and well wishes in 2022. I hope it's a great year, a great money making year, a peaceful year, a non-toxic year for all of us. And thank you for tuning in. If you made it this far, share with your mama, your baby mama, your dog. You guys know how it goes. Thank you for watching. Bye.